Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concepts of cross product. So as per the problem, verify the following: k cross I equals j, which equals negative I cross k. So we have to prove that this vector equation is true. Now the given vectors I, j and k are given in unit vector notation. The first step is to write these vectors in component form. So we can write vector I as 1, 0, 0, vector j as 0, 1, 0, and vector k as 0, 0, 1. We want to change the unit vector notation to component form because it is easier to prove that this vector equation is true using the component form. So the first step is to find the cross product for vectors k and I. So we can find the cross product by stacking the y, z, x and y components of these two vectors. So for the first vector, the y component is 0, z component is 1, x component is 0, and y component is 0. For the second vector, the y component is 0, z component is 0, x component is 1, and y component is 0. Now we can find the x component of the vector, which will be the cross product. So we'll start with the x component. So we should cross multiply the y and z components. So we start with 0 times 0 minus and 0 times 1. So 0 times 0 is 0 and 0 times 1 is also 0. So we get 0 as the x component for the vector that will be the cross product of these two vectors. Now we can find the y component. So we should cross multiply the z and x components. So we start with 1 times 1 minus 0 times 0. So 1 times 1 is 1, 0 times 0 is 0, so we get 1. So the y component is equal to 1. Now we can find the z component. So we'll cross multiply the x and y components. So we start with 0 times 0 minus, and next we do 1 times 0. So we get 0 minus 0, which is equal to 0. So that means the cross product of vectors k and I is the vector 0, 1, 0, which is equal to the j vector. So we have proved the first part of this vector equation. Now we have to prove that minus I times k is also equal to vector j. So first let's find the vector minus I. Vector I is equal to 1, 0, 0. Now we can find vector minus I by multiplying vector I by negative 1. So we should multiply all components of vector I by negative 1. So we get -1, 0, 0. Now we can find the cross product. So we will stack the y, z, x and y components of these two vectors. Now we can cross multiply the components to find the x, y and z components of the vector product. So let's start with the x component. 0 times 1 minus 0 times 0. So I get x equals 0. Now we can find the y component. So we'll cross multiply the z and x components. So we start with 0 times 0 minus 1 times -1. So I get y equals 1. Now we can find the z component. So we start with -1 times 0 and then minus 0 times 0. So I get z equals 0. So the cross product of vectors minus I and k is equal to vector 0, 1, 0, which is equal to the j vector. So that means minus I cross k is equal to vector j. So that verifies this vector equation. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.